Right. Hello, guys. Good afternoon. This is High Priestess Jamila. Hello. Hey, Jen. Hey, girl. Hey. All right. I am a little loopy, a little tired. I was standing up for hours last night. And it wasn't that I was standing up for hours, it was just that it got late. And I actually have a video up, which is only like maybe almost 30 minutes of me making my vigil candles. But I wanted to come and have a quick talk before I go over what the benefits of vigil candles are for witches, as well as if you are dealing with witches. Okay. Yeah. Problematic witches. And just some of the benefits of it. I know that everybody Googles everything. You're not going to find everything on Google. You can find out a bunch of amazing stuff on Google, however, but every piece of information that you need and the correct information is not going to always be on Google. Okay. And so that is where, someone that has had experience, I've done spiritual work for thousands of people. So, I pretty much think I know what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? So hello, one EQL. Hello, how are y'all? All right. So um the vigil candles that I made, and it's trial and error. And I kind of go over it in the video that I'm going to be uploading. I already edited it and everything, as far as, kind of explaining and as to why I decided that I wanted to make these candles that are going to burn for 30 days or longer, constantly, nonstop. Okay. So when you go to Google and in the news, what you will see is people doing vigils after a tragedy. Okay. I don't even know if those people really understand why they're doing those vigils. Some of them probably do, some of them don't. I guess it's to make them feel better. It doesn't really do much. I guess I'm not trying to discount everybody, you know, like if a really bad, tragic situation happens where people die or get hurt, people will do vigils. Okay. And they will do these vigils according to the church. These vigils are meant to uphold the light of Jesus. Okay. And some of y'all don't necessarily work with Jesus. Some of y'all work with Lucifer. Some of y'all work with different deities. Obviously, the church demonizes every other deity other than Jesus. Um, and that within itself is a tragedy. Okay. For every other God to be considered a demon besides Jesus is a tragedy within itself. Okay. So, and everybody knows what witches go through on a daily basis. Um, yeah. And so, um, this is not by any means what I'm speaking about right now is not meant to demean followers of Jesus, but it just I want to explain to you guys the candle vigils. Okay, so a vigil candle can be lit by a witch and to guard against witchcraft. Every witch knows that at some point you're going to have to do some kind of protection or warding of bad energy from another witch for whatever reason. You can do a vigil candle whenever you feel that it is necessary. I have done them and they are extremely beneficial. I believe that candle vigils are beneficial because it puts that energy, and we know that there's freezer spells, there's all of that stuff, but you just never know what religious or spiritual organization that you could be up against. I mean, I've heard of men and women, single moms, married moms, they're just being mobbed by these various spiritual organizations that I feel want to either take advantage of them spiritually or energy harvest off of them or just bully them. They just, some people, hurt people, hurt people. Hurt people want to hurt people. It just is what it is, okay? And so a vigil is going to give you either the protection and the warding that you need, or either that extra oomph that you need for when you're dealing with that. Because let's face it, somebody that is spiritually abusing you, or either abusing their power and their knowledge, which I don't respect. When I came into my witchy power, when I discovered myself, when I accepted it, it was something that spirit just said, no, you just gonna have to accept it. And you are who you are. It was extremely sad and depressing within itself to know what is actually out there, what we're dealing with and what we're up against, which is people that don't know how to do shadow work. They have problems, they have issues, and all they know how to do is project it to other people. Their bad energy, their negative energy. And I have a saying that goes that if you have a spiritual enemy, it's probably because they don't know how to transmute their own negative energy. You are okay and free to transmute your own negative energy, but somebody else's negative energy, that's why you can't just transmute it. And anytime we're talking about spiritual warfare, anytime we're talking about that, it can never be the expectation that you're supposed to transmute someone else's negative energy. You're lying to yourself. You can't do that, because negative energy is what? Negative energy is spirits. And these may be malignant, malevolent spirits that could be coming from someone else. Okay? Makes sense to me. Um, and this is the truth. Okay. The reason why the truth hurts is because it causes people to avoid themselves, to avoid doing that shadow work. Every witch that talks about shadow work knows what I'm talking about. And I think shadow work factually involves spirits, your soul resonance, as well as even past life things. Everybody is afraid of being judged. Oh, if I talk about my past life, people are going to think I'm crazy. It's that kind of attitude. And this is what causes a lot of people to be in denial. And this is how you end up in some kind of spiritual battle. Um, Candle vigils can remove blocks, delays. Okay. The saying in the Bible, delayed but not denied. Okay. Even though I'm not Christian. I'm not. Um, but that's what it says in the Bible. And that's just a common truth. I still think along with that, shadow work is needed. And it is a tragedy. It is a tragedy to deal with, you know, either a malevolent person or a malevolent organization that is attacking you when really they need to look inward and look at themselves. Okay, now that's just the truth. And so this is how you end up in some kind of tiff with somebody, you know, and, so a candle vigil basically to a witch is a constant flame with an intended purpose. And if you have a constant flame going with that intended purpose, you can eliminate a lot of people's bad energies. Okay. In fact, you can't, one thing that you can't do though is someone's intent against you. If a person has a lot of spiritual problems, confusion, and they have an intent to do harm to you, this is something that is going to always and forever be their karmic lesson. You living your life, that's no excuse. People being jealous and upset and envious of you is not an excuse for them to think of different ways every day on a daily basis to attack you. A person that's doing that, or either a group of people that is doing that, that is a tragedy. It is. And, I haven't experienced, because I do the vigils, I do the work. I have not experienced anybody that calls themselves an enemy of mine causing any tragedy in my life. And I never will, because I do the work. And so last year, we had decided to do candle vigils all year. And we ended up not having to, even though it would have been beneficial to do that. That's what they are for. When you're dealing with a confused person that is confused spiritually, they are misguided. They're projecting their anger, their negativity, their sadness, their depression, their problems at you as a solution for their issue, instead of looking inward and doing shadow work to heal themselves. None of us have the capacity to constantly take on so many issues of other people. I mean, that's usually for our family, for ourselves. Nobody has the spiritual capacity to consistently take in somebody else's bad energy all the time and transmute it. There's no there's nobody that let me just get this explained to y'all real quick. You can never be somebody's solution to all of their issues. The ignorance of allowing any and all bad energy, spirits in, doing things out of anger. That's never your job to do that. It is up to that person. Now, if you love somebody or you care about somebody, yeah, absolutely. But think about it. Is it really your responsibility to transmute the negativity, the problems? People that are attacking you spiritually or otherwise, they have problems. That's why they're doing it. They need someone to absorb that and transmute it. They don't know how to transmute. Listen, I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've seen people in constant denial. And you even see people posting things in constant denial. Oh, send me that energy. I'll transmute it. No, you're not. You're not going to transmute that energy. You're lying to yourself if you think that you can transmute somebody else's energy. Think about it. If somebody else has bad ancestors, because in order for a person to be that way in the first place, they got to have some bad ancestors that ain't no good, that's not guiding them properly. So, what that means is that you're supposed to transmute all of these unfamiliar spirits. No, you got to look at it the way that it is and not the way that you want it to be. So, this is the issue. If somebody is spiritually attacking you, okay, trying to use you as some kind of scapegoat or something, that's their own problem. It is impossible. It's possible for you to transmute your own stuff, but it's not possible for you to transmute somebody else's stuff. You may even be able to transmute your significant other, your children. Even after a while, they have to do that for themselves, unless you're purposely creating problems for your own children, which is a whole other story. Okay, which is a whole other story. So that's what the candle vigils are good for. They are good to continuously keep a constant flame on it. Now, there's some people with some pretty wild ideas about spirituality. Oh, I'm just going to do a death curse on that person and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear it. Okay. I don't want to hear it. I believe in God, and nobody has the power to physically murder anybody except for God. I mean, you can even blow somebody's head off. That doesn't mean they're going to die. Now, they would look kind of funny. They wouldn't look the same, if you just kind of blasted somebody's head off. But y'all know how people have been shot and stabbed and they live because that's an act of God. Okay. Hey, Maria. Hello. So that's what they are good for if you are at spiritual war. A lot of the times, a lot of you guys are just innocent bystanders. But you know what I'm saying? Chances are, if somebody is, doing a little too much, because you had a disagreement with them, they're sort of kind of trying to create that environment to where you have to literally, take on their bad energy. Okay. And they have to learn, just like everybody else did. They have to learn to transmute their own negative energy. It's not your problem. They want to make it your problem. Okay. And so vigils can be used for whatever purpose, whether or not you have to ward or refuel. Some people are out there taking energy. Some people are out there literally energy harvesting. They don't really actually believe in healing. They believe in taking something from someone else instead of healing. And this is a big mistake, huge mistake. Okay. Your body, your mind, your spirit has an ability to heal. And it just is what it is. Okay. So vigils can be used to also take back your power. I was talking to you guys last week about people confuse people trying to form cords to you. And so we all know about that. So it can be used for that as well. Okay. Just depends on what the issue is. That's one of the reasons why I don't ever claim that I am God. Because if you say that you're God and you're the source of all power, then the next thing you know, you're being fed upon. No, thank you. Okay. And, again, some of the things that, uh, how do I get into this without insulting anybody? I've seen that type of thing at work when people are like, "Oh, I'm vampiring off of somebody, and I'm gonna do this and do that." When in reality, that person is really, really, really codependently putting themselves in a trap. Yeah, they're, and I mean, maybe that is the nature of who they are. Maybe that is the nature of who they are, but you don't necessarily have to be victim. You don't have to be like their prey. That is preying upon somebody, and they're like, oh, I see that this person has all that juicy goodness and power, and let me feed off of that source instead of feeding off of off of God, which is to me all things, the sun, the moon, the herbs, and why they can't feed off of that. So that's one of the biggest things that people are still complaining about. Okay, so that's one other one. And typically, when you're going through this kind of spiritual warfare, if they can't feed off of your energy, if they can't feed off of you energetically, then they'll try to curse you. It's a cycle that they go through. Okay, when in reality, they probably need to look inward and talk to God. Okay, well, whoever their God is. Okay, so that's what the vigils are good for. I'm actually uploading the process of making the candles. I've got 6 of them made. I actually accidentally left them in the refrigerator overnight, so I'm going to see what they do. um and probably the next batch that I make, I'm going to use the liquid candle dye drops instead of the mica powder. Is probably what I'm going to do. Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you brought that up, one EQL, because even though I do offer a service to people to do spiritual work for them, uh the type of situations that would lead somebody to do some of the things that they're doing is really because there's self-help that is needed. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely self-help that's needed. They need to help themselves sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So I don't do that kind of magic. I don't, do that kind of I think they call it vampire magic or something. I call it parasitic, magic, to where, it just seems like they're trying to suck the life force out of you for whatever reason. Maybe they feel that they need to do that to survive. Maybe they feel like they're going to die or something. It's really all just anxiety and fear. It is. And if you have anxiety, you truly have to do shadow work. If you have anxiety, you do. Because you're going to discover what is causing that in the first place. So if somebody feels like, oh God, I got to latch on to this person and feed off of them energetically and just suck the life out of them. I don't care about them. I don't care about their life. I'm a beast, and I just that person needs to look inward to see what is happening, right? They need to look inward. It'd be different if you just, really most of us that actually have harnessed divine power, we only needed the spark of the divine. The rest of it, which is that inspiration, right? Which is that inspiration, it's kind of like, and it's not from another person. It could be from another person, but it's that energy that we know is there, but that we can't see it. Okay, it's there, it's there, but you can't see it. And the power of magic, and just the power of magic is so precious that, people can't find it and they want it. So a lot of times if they find it, it'll cause other things to happen. When really a lot of the times what people need to ultimately do is look inward to find their own magic. And that does require a lot of work done on self, and there's no shortcuts. Okay. Really what ends up happening is they just piss a bunch of people off. And it's I caution against all the time. Another thing that spirit was talking to me about was people that are just doing magic, or I'm practicing magic, but they don't want to call themselves a witch. It's almost like trying to reap the benefits, but then not carrying the badge of honor, which is going to create a weakness and a codependency within itself. You can't just say I'm a witch, but yet you're practicing witchcraft. I don't care if you're a hoodoo person, a voodoo person, or whatever it is that you're doing. It's still witchcraft, right? It's still witchcraft. Whether or not you use candles, animal bones, herbs, whatever it is that you use, even if you're just using your mind, it's still considered to be under the blanket of witchcraft. So that's an issue within itself. And that's self-loathing. I don't particularly believe that any of us have to hate self, you know, but I think that there are ways to protect yourself and to make sure that you are able to forge through that situation that you may be dealing with. And that is what the candle vigils are definitely good for. For example, some of you guys are in college, you know, nothing wrong with being in college. It wasn't for me. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay. And you may have somebody that could be attacking you. Whatever situation that you're in, I mean, a lot of people, especially during the month of March, are going through some very powerful transformations. And sometimes, as you're going through these transformations, you've got somebody that is trying to either manipulate that transformation or either interrupt it or intercept it. And that is where it's a problem, right? That's where it's a problem. I'm going to give you guys an example. Let's say that, you had diabetes or high blood pressure that ran through your family. And, your doctor told you, hey, you're kind of on the barrier of developing diabetes, right? Let's say that happened. and your doctor said, hey, you need to eat a better diet and you need to exercise, maybe lose about 20 pounds, 30 pounds will help your health. And then somebody comes in and says, somebody may catch wind of this information, and they'll say, oh, I don't want you to be healthier. I'm going to light a black candle on you so that you can be sick and tired and not be able to exercise, so that you can't help your body. What makes you think that you don't have the power, or that the power and the help and the assistance is not there for you to stop that person, because your life depends on that? Your health, your livelihood, right? Okay, so that would be an example. Let's say that you decided, oh, I want to just simple as something as simple as buying your kids a bounce house, and maybe that bounce house would bring some kind of unity to your children. And somebody said, no, I don't want you to have that bounce house, so I'm going to do this and that to you. And then, it's, what I'm saying? It can be as small or as big, which both are big. The small is big and the big is small. So, anybody trying to, because nobody can just sit there and say, oh, I'm just not going to talk about nothing. I'm just not going to say nothing. I mean, nobody can do that. People are going to always, you're going to always live your life. Nobody has the right to intercept or try to disrupt your life. And they'll find out. They always do. They find out the hard way that they don't have the right nor the power. However, they've done it. They've done it. They've done it to people that were not knowing, that were ignorant. And they have been able to take those people down because those people were not aware. And so they think they're going to do it to you, but they not, because, you're working with High Priestess Jamila. Right, right, right. Exactly. Sorry about that. I don't know how I accidentally clicked. I got an email notification. Yeah. Yeah. So, it just is what it is. Right. So it's a good vigils to a witch. Our definition is different, especially because a lot of times when you see a candle vigil, it'll be a white candle. Well, ours are black with and these candles that I made, I'm pretty happy with them. You know, um, the ones that I've done with the vegetable oil, they'll last for probably close to a month or over a month. Because I'll be burning them continuously. So, I'm hoping to get 4 weeks out of the candle that I did last night, which I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to upload that. Okay. If you feel like giving up, and it's not about giving up a fight with people, that's not your job to fight with those people. A lot of times, fighting with people, it's just a waste of your energy, right? Okay. So the vigils, the flame will do the fighting for you. You put your ancestors on that flame too. Yeah, I'm gonna upload the video in a minute. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that since I've kind of been missing in action a little bit for the past couple of days. I was making candles when I had uploaded that little short Snapchat thing. I thought it was funny. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was kind of in the middle of doing things. I thought about putting it in the video kind of to bring a little bit of laughter, because to have genuine, just a genuine laugh or joy is really, really good because it isn't. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. Having a spiritual enemy is somebody that just won't leave you the hell alone. And, you know, they've got bad energy, a bad energy person. That is very tragic. It's sad that people can't just go and fix themselves and heal themselves. No, I gotta go. I'm ready to eat something. I gotta eat something and I gotta run up to the stove too. Yeah. So, no. So the candle vigils are good, especially if you guys don't have all of the money for your spiritual work. In fact, instead of doing, I'm gonna stop that temporarily doing the payment arrangements. I took my last client for that. Okay. We're gonna just, you know, if you have the money to do the vigil, you can just do the vigil. Okay, until you're able to. Now, some of y'all need other types of workings, and so, you know, we can talk about that. But other than that, you know, that's pretty much what we're doing. Okay, and a lot of those bad spirits that they're conjuring up, those bad spirits, they got to go. They got to go. You know, we're not talking about demons because I know that there's a lot of you that love working with your demons. I don't have a problem with demons. In fact, demons can be very helpful. They can. I'm talking about spirits. There's a difference between a spirit, you know, that's buried in a graveyard than a demon. A demon is probably millions, if not billions of years old. A spirit was born in, you know, 1876 or 1912 or something. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and then also there's a lot of people that need to learn, they need to take classes. And it just is what it is, you know. It can get quite scary, you know. You know, but I'm not afraid, right? Because they're like, oh, she's helping people and we're trying to take advantage of people. Well, I guess you'll just have to catch these spiritual hands then. You know, it just is what it is. And then it's a symbolism of faith and power. You know, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I had no faith in it, but I do. I have 1000% faith in witchcraft, whether or not I were Christian or pagan. Okay. I think that for me, what I try to do is I try to break the mold in people's minds of them actually feeling like the God in the Bible is actually God. I don't believe that. Sometimes it probably is God speaking, but a lot of the stuff, oh, God is a jealous God and God is this and that and God is some of that, you know, it's hard to break those molds of thinking when you think about in terms of God. For me, my relationship with God is different. It would never be what was described in the Bible, a vengeful God that's going to tell me to murder my children. No, that's not God to me. That's something that somebody wrote in a book. It's very difficult to get people to break that mode of thinking. So that's not God to me. That's something else. God is loving and protecting and you know has no need for that pettiness. That's my God. Okay. Which y'all will hear me call God the source, right? The source. So, you know, and yeah, so that's my little soapbox on that. But you know what I'm saying? I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to hear other people's perception of God. So this is the reason why I don't even have a Bible in my house. Probably need one because there are times that I do believe that the Bible makes sense. But a lot of the times, half of the time. So, and I know that a lot of religious scholars are, they want to smack me around, uh, but I think even they do, because nobody actually follows the Bible to the T. Who does that? Nobody. Nobody does that. It's like, oh, and so they pick and choose what they want to believe in and what they want to live by in the Bible. It's no different from if. So, anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I will see you guys later. I hope that you guys are doing well today. Okay. I'll catch y'all later. All right. All right. Blessed be.